Lindsey Horvath, LA County Supervisor, colleague of Catherine Barger. Maybe we'll have the whole Board of Supervisors on.
One by one.
Yeah, great to see you. We spoke with you last night. We appreciate having your perspective on tonight. You represent several of the fires, the biggest one, of course, in Pacific Palisades. From your perspective, where are things at on that one, and how are things maybe different tonight than what we were talking about 24 hours ago?
So I was out touring the fire damage with Senator Schiff today, and it is absolutely devastating. It's unimaginable what is going on out there, and I know the focus remains in Topanga. It is a very tough firefight there right now. We have all hands on deck, and I know the best are at the front lines, so I'm grateful for the work that they're doing. The Senator and I were working together to document exactly how we're going to work together on a going forward basis, and making sure that all hands remain on deck. I know that people who experienced Woolsey were expressed concern that resources might leave, that the support might go away, and that the fires would come back. And the exact opposite is what's going to happen. We are doubling down. We are increasing resources on the ground in the short term to fight this fire, and we're also increasing resources in the longer term. But I also want to pick up where my colleague left off, because I meant what I said this morning. I was completely frustrated as we were getting errant alerts this morning. Last night when we spoke, it was one message that had gone out, and there are mistakes that do happen. But what we found out is actually it wasn't LA County's mistake. What we found out is the way this system works. The county drafts the message and says where it needs to go, and then it gets routed through our application server, which connects through FEMA in order to reach our cellular services. And I think there's a statement going out about this right now. A couple things happen. First, the cellular towers, while there have been power outages, when they turn off and have to reboot, the messages that, as Supervisor Barger indicated, they sort of sit in a cloud and they bounce around until they have a place to go. So some of these messages were messages that were waiting to go out, but because of power outages, they never actually landed. There were also issues going on with the FEMA server. And so since I spent the day with Senator Schiff, at my request, he called Secretary Mayorkas to raise the level of awareness in the administration. The White House called to let me know that they were working with FEMA on this. We have been focused literally at all levels on this. I know it sounds ridiculous in one way that you have to go that high a level, but it's because the platform that we use is the only platform where people don't opt in. So I know people have been talking about, oh, they wanted to opt out of these messages. You can't opt out because it's FEMA, and FEMA sends the message to the cellular carrier. So the cellular carrier then sends it out to everyone, and so that's how it all works. So people can't turn them off, and it's truly a technological error. And at a time like this, it feels like a nightmare. We're having these conversations. You hear these sounds going off. Not only are they distracting, they're annoying, and they're triggering for people who are just going through the worst experience of their lives. So our Office of Emergency Management has been working with FEMA on this. All of us have been all hands on deck since we left the presser this morning to get to the bottom of this, because people are mad, and they should be. They're trying to focus on everything else that's being lost through this fire, and then they have to worry about this being woken up at 4 in the morning and trying to get their kids to sleep. I mean, it's infuriating. So we are on it. I believe there's a statement that's come out, explaining how all of this has gone down, but we've drilled down to what's been going on, and all those who are responsible for this technological platform, when we send the messages out and how it gets delivered, they're working on it to get those messages cleared out so these alerts stop. But the fail-safe, as I mentioned this morning, and I know Director McGowan did too, when these alerts go out, there is a little link that pops up in them. If you click on the link, it takes you to the website, alertla.org or alertla/.
You're right. It's alertla.org.
And so it goes to that website that has where where there are actual evacuation orders, where there are evacuation warnings. So all of the information is correct on the maps. So if you click on the link, you will get that information correctly. If you go to the website, it will give you the correct information. So I know when you get an alert, you want to jump into action. That makes sense. But you just click on the link, go to the website first, and it will tell you exactly whether you're under a warning or an order or whether it was an error.
And Kevin McGowan also said you could call 211 as well.
That's right. And in fact, we've expanded our service and response there. We are deploying additional disaster workers there so we can decrease the wait times that I know people have been experiencing. We've been getting them down closer to around 20 minutes, which I know is not ideal, but it's better than where we were, and we're working to get them even lower. Yeah, so bottom line is, I mean, what you just said is this is not LA County's mistake. This is FEMA's mistake. I had to go to the Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, to try and get some answers. Yet, as we asked Supervisor Barger, your colleague, when this will all be fixed, we still don't know. So they are working on clearing out how these messages, which have not been completely released, which were not all released, or I don't know the exact terminology, but how it all lands with the cellular carriers who have their towers experiencing electrical outages and then coming back online. It's somewhere between that, and so they're working on how that will all play out. But right now, LA County is working to make sure that when that we're communicating with them for any future alerts that get sent out.
It seems like there's a lot of finger pointing happening now amongst officials. Kristen Crowley saying the budget cuts hurt her, Mayor Bass saying they didn't, Governor Newsom saying we need to investigate the DWP. It seems like everybody's kind of pushing. Right, lack of accountability.
I want to be clear. This is you're asking for answers, and people deserve answers of what's going on with these alerts. They're annoying, they're frustrating, and we need them for this time of crisis. So this isn't about finger pointing. This is about just being clear. Nobody wants to have to explain. Look, I'm not a tech nerd. I don't do this for a living, but I've had to in these past 24 hours figure out exactly how this alert issue has gone down. So I'm just explaining to you what is happening here, and because people deserve to know. I wanted to know. It's frustrating. It isn't about finger pointing. It's about getting to the bottom of it so it stops and people get information they can rely on, because they deserve to have trust in information. And so that's why we have backups, and that's why we ask people to go to the website, so we know that they will get information that is reliable, that we're in control of.
But not only just the alerts. I mean, I'm just talking about the firefighting response as a whole. The idea that there wasn't enough water, the fact that for several hours there weren't firefighters on a lot of these streets where the homes were burning. The media was there, the firefighters weren't there. Are you satisfied with the response itself? And if not, what steps are going to be taken to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
I think there are absolutely improvements that we will make based on this experience, and as we discussed last night, there are improvements that we made to get to the point that we're at based on the experience of Woolsey. But I have to tell you, Senator Schiff and I spoke with a firefighter who was up coastline on the in between Sunset Mesa, who had been out there from the moment that this fire broke out in the Palisades. He was weary, he was battle-worn, and he was still out there fighting with all he had. And he said those early hours, it was like walking through a tunnel of fire that looked like hell. And it was, he was just happy to be alive. And when this is the experience that people were facing because of the winds, because we couldn't do the aerial drops, because of, conditions that nobody could have ever imagined, no amount of planning would have prepared for what he experienced on the ground. And so we know that there will certainly be improvements that we will make in a 21st century reality where these extreme climate issues continue to come up, and we know that we also have to fight the fires that are in front of us. And I'm grateful that despite everything, they're continuing to do it.
Well, we appreciate your time last night. We appreciate your time today. LA County Supervisor Lindsey Horvath, who represents District 3, thank you very much.
Thank you.